Just giving everybody a minute or two to log in, and then we'll start with announcements, but anyone is welcome to unmute and introduce yourself, or to type in the chat and introduce yourself. Everything is welcome. Hey, Anne, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Adam says, sorry, you can't make it.
Is he on vacation? He's just busy.
No, he's a big deadline.
Okay. Well, tell him we say hi. Hey, Stacy. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Janet. Hey, Rachel. See everybody. We're just giving people a minute to log in. Feel free to unmute and introduce yourself, or to type in the chat. We'll get started with announcements and updates in just a minute, and then move into our featured speakers today, who are Kathy LaValle and Eva Gunia from the Prince William Library System in Virginia, and Myra as well is presenting, I think. So yeah, so we'll hear from them about their MAGIC, which is Management and Government Information Center, and so their approach there. So, oh, there's Diane in disguise. Hi, Diane. Hi, Carly. Hey, Zach. We're just getting started, so feel free to unmute and say hi, or type in the chat, giving people a minute to log in. There's Rosalind. Hey, Rosalind.
Hi.
Hi, Beth. Hi, Mahela. Anybody have announcements or anything to share from their libraries or from their own personal lives? Anything fun going on, vacation, or yeah, any fun programs at work?
Well, I'm working from home today from Cape Cod in Massachusetts, so that's exciting. I'm off tomorrow and Monday, so this is my last work day before the vacation starts.
That is exciting.
My fun weekend.
I hope you have good weather.
Hey, Megan, this is work related. Anyone who is a member of the LBB cohort, Megan had uploaded information about being highlighted for your entrepreneurial services and initiatives. This would be to help Shireen, Eid, and myself at the Sharjah International Conference. So the particulars and the questions, all the information is on Slack. And if you would consider being a highlight, I know Shireen and I would greatly appreciate it. And you can reach out to me directly if you have any questions. And hey to Janet. Hi, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you.
Thanks, Diane. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Any updates from your programs or exciting things you're planning for the fall, or just anything fun going on?
I have one little one little step to talk about. We finally have a SCORE chapter in Medford here, which has taken a while, and we finally had a SCORE library night last month for the first time, and 5 whole people showed up, which is 4 more than I expected, so that's pretty good. So I'm slowly getting the word out, and the reception has been very positive, so I hope this is an ongoing program.
Cool, very nice.
It's a little bitty baby step, but sometimes that's where you got to start.
Megan, I'll just share that my family and I discovered a 2,000 acre nature reserve type area south of Annapolis, Maryland, that is owned by and organized by the Smithsonian. So they're doing various research with nature and experimenting with how many trees, different species of trees brings out the best habitat and things like that, but also restoring some of the older farm buildings and it's Smithsonian quality. So it was really delightful to see.
Oh, wow, I'm unfamiliar. Yeah, you'll have to share where that is for some of us are here from Maryland and Virginia and DC. So that sounds wonderful.
Dorothy, do you know what it's called?
I believe it's the Smithsonian Research Center something. I'll look it up and put it in the chat.
Anybody else? Anything to share? Okay, I have a few announcements, and then before I turn it over to Kathy and Eva and Myra to talk to us about magic at Prince William County Libraries in Virginia. Let's see. First thing, the Live, Learn, X conference is coming up in January in Baltimore, Maryland. The proposals are now closed. If you submitted something, I think they said they'll notify us before or like in November before the holidays. But definitely consider making plans to join us there. It'll be great. The Live, Learn, X is typically a smaller, more focused conference. So it's a good place to kind of do more one-to-one conversations or small group conversations because it's just scaled down, smaller. And incredibly, the ALA annual conference submissions are going to open on Monday. So if you're interested in presenting, it's going to be in San Diego, so probably many of us are interested in presenting. Be on the lookout for that. I'll share the link once it's live. But yeah, the submissions will be open next Monday, August 14th, and it's only open for about a month. I think it's closing September 18th. So for this past conference in June, we had some great collaborations from this group. If people want to get together and present with other people in this group, let me know. I'd be happy to facilitate some connections. Or yeah, to help you think through some topics. I'm happy to help with that. So let me know. Or just reach out on Slack and maybe someone will respond to you. Stay tuned for that. I just wanted to remind everyone about the new-ish Libraries Build Business Communications Toolkit. The toolkit went live earlier this year. It's full of free resources and templates that you can use. You can download them and customize them with your own branding and your own talking points. And it's targeted towards 4 different audiences to help you get the word out about your program. So to small business owners in the community who are your potential participants and probably partners as well, small business support organizations, policymakers and elected officials, local leaders, and then just other library staff. So yeah, there's PowerPoint templates and talking points. There are flyers and bookmarks and leave behinds, all kinds of things that you can use to get the word out about your program. And we really hope that will help you build some capacity related to comms and marketing, and also just to have really good conversations with others in your community about the work that you're doing, which increases sustainability. From the ALA perspective, one of our goals with this project is now to help get the word out to elected officials at the national level that libraries do this incredible work related to economic opportunity and entrepreneurship. So really, the toolkit is a way that people at the local level can partner with us in that effort and advocate for all of, for libraries and for funding libraries, and by demonstrating all of the great stuff you're already doing, that's more than just books. Like, and I think we still have that reputation, which is, probably funny to us, but is true. So thinking about, the future of libraries and demonstrating that in your community. Diane, who's here, and Julie from Baltimore County recently did a podcast about their small business and entrepreneurship services. It was the Library Leadership Podcast. It was really a great episode. I linked to it in Slack, so if you're on Slack, check that out. They just talk a lot about some of the work that they're doing in entrepreneurship, and it was great to see that highlighted. So check that out, and congratulations, Diane, very good. You're a natural podcaster. And then finally, Jim and I had a conversation with Main Streets America this week. They're running a program called the Equitable Entrepreneurial Ecosystems in Rural Communities, or E3. They're going to be doing workshops around the country this year, and their first one is in Nebraska at the end of the month. I don't think anyone here is from Nebraska, but if you know colleagues that are in Nebraska, or if you're nearby Nebraska, I'm going to share the link to that in chat after the meeting, but they're hosting a workshop at the end of the month that they would love to have library folks attend for free to learn about kind of, getting integrated with the entrepreneurial ecosystem and meeting other partners that help to make the thriving local community. So there might be more of these events, and maybe closer to home. Stay tuned. We don't know everything yet, but like I said, the Nebraska one, the link is live, and I will share that. So just an FYI on that. Anybody else have comments, announcements, questions before we hand it over to Kathy, Eva, and Myra?
So Megan, could you please repeat this, the equitable entrepreneurial ecosystem? Who did you say is doing that? It was something about Main Street, but I didn't quite catch.
Yeah, Main Streets America is the organization.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's called Equitable Entrepreneurial Ecosystems in Rural Communities. I will share the flyer in our Slack group. And yeah, they've just kicked off this program. So this is the phase one where they're doing these local workshops. So yeah, seems like an exciting initiative, and they're excited about the opportunity to make sure their partners know about libraries and how to work with libraries. So I expect we'll be hearing more from them, and maybe kind of there'd be some virtual options as well. But if you know anyone in Nebraska, let them know about this event. And yeah, I'm right? Nobody here is from Nebraska. I don't think, yeah, I don't think so. Anything else?
Well, actually, before we get started, I want to say, because you talked about marketing to elected officials, Myra on Tuesday evening gave a presentation to the town of Dumfries, which is a very small town within Prince William County. And she gave it at their council meeting, a presentation about magic and what we do. So she did an excellent job.
Awesome. I love to hear that. Yeah, for anyone that's doing that kind of work, share with us on Slack or send me an email. I love to know how that's going and who you're making connections with. That's awesome. Good job. Okay, well, I'm not hearing anything else. So yeah, I think Kathy and Eva and Myra, I'm going to pass it over to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you for having us. I'm going to go ahead and share our screen here. Sure, I pick the right one. Let me share. Okay, how does that look? Okay, great. So Magic, we are the Management and Government Information Center. We were created in 1991 when Chin Park opened. The director at that time had a vision that the library, he wanted the library to play an important role within the county. He wanted to do this by making us embedded into the community, into local government, serving their information needs to the citizens and the employees within Prince William County. It's not going over to the next slide. There we go. There we go. So we have a 3-person department. It's myself, Eva, and Myra. We all have a various diverse background. I have 15 years of experience working in corporate libraries before I ever came to the public library. Eva had worked in federal libraries, and Myra has extensive research experience. So what is MAGIC? We are a specialized department within Prince William Public Library System. We focus on research and information needs for the county, also the cities, like I said, the town of Dumfries, but also the business community, and that does include nonprofit organizations. We're trying to support the government agencies in their day-to-day work, but also their daily work if they're working on a committee, a project, that they need information or they're going back to school. So we're supporting that learning culture within the county for its employees. About 90% of our questions have always come via email. Some people do fill out our Ask MAGIC form, which they can find on our website. We try to answer our questions within 48 hours. County questions, we try to do 24 hours, but if it's in-depth research, that usually might take us 3 weeks. We do manage all of our questions that come through with the Outlook task function. And with Outlook task, we can actually assign the questions or the emails that come in to a MAGIC team member. We can set deadlines. We can enter our informational ticks. And we just manage the project from there. It is important for us to keep track of who we're doing work for, what type of work we're doing, the volume of the work, so then we can report that to upper management, but also the County Board of Supervisors to let them know about what the library is doing and the services we're offering. So what makes us unique? We're embedded into the local government, providing information services to those county employees. We give special perks to county employees, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. The second thing is we try to provide a service or a product, and that service is like a research service to county employees. And for the business community, we're providing that product, something to help them be more strategic in the marketplace. And thirdly, branding. We have a brand, we have a logo, and that helps us market our department. So embedded in local government, I think that's a huge part of our visibility. Being embedded has allowed all the employees and agencies within the county to use us. It's making us visible, it's making us valued, an intricate part of the county. So whether it is that day-to-day information they're asking us for a current address, for example, if the property code enforcement officers might need contact information for a homeowner because there's a zoning violation, we can get them that. Or maybe they're working on, there's a department doing in-depth research. We had our park authority who hires hundreds of summer employees, and they were like, how do we manage the paperwork for that? So they wanted to know, how were other jurisdictions handling hiring 300 lifeguards for the summer? What software are they using? How are they managing that paperwork? So we would go out and do the research. We make phone calls, we send out emails, we're doing internet searching to get them the information they need to make a good strategic decision going forward. Another example is county HR. During COVID, we re-looked at our telework policy. So we're giving them information to make those important decisions. Here are some of our perks that we advertise to the county. We do free interlibrary loans for employees, and I should say it's work related. If they want the best novel, we're not going to do an interlibrary loan or anything like that. But if it's something work related, we'll get the article for them, we'll get the book for them, we'll even purchase books for them. They go into our collection and then we loan them out to the employee at that agency. And it goes on their library card. So they are responsible for that book and returning it. But I might give them an extended due date. Instead of 3 weeks, they might get 6 months because they're working on a project. We also do training on our databases. And if it's a specialized database, we'll just do the searching for them. Here are some of the questions that we have gotten in the past that are a little unique, so I thought I would include them. We get questions that might deal with history, like origins of road names or history of 911 in Prince William County. But then we do get those questions about policies and procedures. We've recently just purchased a firing range. So our risk and wellness office was, they went to visit the facilities and they said, oh my gosh, you have so many chemicals here. We need to reevaluate the policy for this. So we went out and did research on procedures for cleaning firearms. How are other agencies and counties handling these procedures to make them more knowledgeable? I think the second thing that is important for us, at least, is providing a service or product. It was years ago, I went down to our marketing department and I said, we really want to promote magic. And he goes, well, what do you have to offer? I mean, what's your product? And I said, product? And I said, I don't know if I have a product. And we talked about it. And I was like, well, we do have a product. We have all these databases with all this information. We just need to present it in such a way. So we are providing, making ourselves visible and valuable by presenting these products. Let's see here. What you can see right here is I did include a table of contents that we had done some research for therapy dogs in the workplace. And when we gather all our information, we put it into one document and we're sending it out to the county agency. We're citing all our sources and we're giving them links to those sources, but I'm also including the full text of those articles. So we're using Adobe Pro to combine all this information together. And on this table of contents, we're putting our logo. So we're making sure we're marketing ourselves. And this has become a very valued resource for our employees. The third thing is, I think for us that's been important is the branding. We have a logo. So luckily the director in 1991, he loved wordplay. So he came up with the Management and Government Information Center, and it's spelled magic and it works tremendously. And this branding creates name recognition. It helps build trust with our patrons and the people we serve. We've been very lucky enough to have a budget. So we've been able to purchase promotional materials like pens and Post-it notes that we bring to our events. So we'll give those out to the chamber events or any marketing we do. And I would say if you didn't have a budget to buy pens, still having that logo, because you're putting that on your letterhead, you're putting that in other material that can promote your department and give recognition to what it is that you're doing. And that doesn't cost anything. So here are some other templates that we've created for our in-depth research. This one was for the business community when we do our industry overview. We're advertising principally in public library. We have the magic logo on there. Also, when we're just doing an email response, if we can make it formal and put our logo on there. And again, that's creating name recognition and building that trust and value. I mean, we're professionals, we do professional work, and we want to come across that way. The other thing is when you're hosting a virtual event, you can always have in your background your logo, picture of your building, again, creating that professional image for yourself, because if you're coming across as a professional, they might be more apt to trust you and trust the information you're providing them. Another way that you can do branding without spending money is creating that website. And on our webpage, we have our logo there. We're promoting our services. We've listed our community partners with the Chamber Economic Development Office, 1 Million Cups, which is a business networking group. On our webpage, we also are including, we have an Ask Magic button there. And in there, if you click on it, you can fill out a form, and then that gets emailed to us, the question, whatever you're requesting. We have government and voting information button there that will link you over to the elected officials information, contact information, and also where you can go to vote. We also create, it's called Legal Links. That is a button there because we don't necessarily do legal research. We're not law librarians, but we get a lot of questions. So here people can do their own legal research with the links we have provided to them. And then we have the link for small business information for our entrepreneurs, how to get started, how to write a business plan, etc. The other place that we're embedding ourselves is in the business community, along with the local government. Magic has been working really hard over the last 5 years to get us embedded in the business community. And outreach and branding has led us, I think, to that success. And I say that we've succeeded because prior to 5 years ago, only 10% of our questions came from the business community. Most of our work, 90% of our work, was for the county government. But then when we started to do our outreach, started to do more branding and marketing to the business community, now 30% of our questions are for the business community. So resources that we have for the business community. These are some of our databases. And I think it's important to market them, just like children's departments. They're marketing their story hour as a service. They're marketing, at least here, we have American Girl doll kits. That's the product, we're handing out. So we're always trying to market ourselves with a product. We're offering information from our databases and compiling it in such a way. We have LexisNexis, we have IBISWorld, and also the Gale Business Essentials we use for our industry information. We're using ProQuest for questions which that we can't answer through JSTOR. And then we do have the Gale magazine databases. We also do have the Foundation Directory online database that we market to the nonprofit organizations in the area. So what I would say is one of our products is this industry overview, and it's just 3 pages, but we have put in there information that we have found businesses need to know. The community profile, demographics for the community, what's the competition, what's the customers. You can do target advertising using A to Z. Also with A to Z, you can also do vetting of employees. And along with the competition, you can look up and potential customers. So this is what the industry overview looks like. We do put a disclaimer on there to let them know that this is strictly for their informational knowledge. It's not supposed to be, sold or used in any way to make money. It's strictly educational, just like if they had walked through the door, sat down at our database, or gone online to our digital library, went to Gale Business Essentials, pulled up that industry overview from Gale or industry report. We've just sort of taken snippets out of there and put it in here. Those snippets include things like the barriers to enter that market, the competition, what are the other coffee shops in the area? There, we've included a section on growth planning. What does it look like in the next 5 years? Are you
Kathy, I believe you've frozen
I froze?
just for a moment. So I'd go
No.
back to that last slide. We didn't hear anything about growth planning.
Oh, the growth planning?
Yeah.
Do you see the slide now?
Yes.
Okay. So on this slide, but you heard what I said though, right?
No, you went completely
Oh.
nonverbal there during that slide.
Okay, sorry about that. So in growth planning, it has 5-year projections here, which is useful. So they can get an idea if their business revenue is going to go up or down in the next 5 years. So if they're just starting out, or if they're an established business, what things do they need to change in order to make their business more strategically placed for the projected outcomes? One of the other products that we have are these books to go kit. We have 2 right now. One is for the nonprofit community. It's grant resources. That includes grant writing, fundraising, how to run your nonprofit, how to market it. We've also done a brochure or little bookmark listing our grant services. Our marketing department did that for us. We've also put together a books to go kit for the business community. And that one is more how to start your business. And so there's a book in there for a business plan, a legal guide, social media marketing. And the reason why we created these book kits is we noticed when someone came through the door asking information to start a business, we were going to the shelves and getting a book from the legal section, and that was $300s. Then we'd go to the book and get one about running your business, and that was in the $650s. So we were going to all these different locations, and I felt it was a little overwhelming for these new businesses. With the books to go kit, it's all together in one place. Also in this kit, there's a binder, and in the binder, we have information on the county, things that they might need to know, like how to get your business license, information from our economic development office, information from our finance department, and also development services if you were going to be purchasing property, and zoning information. These kits do go out for 6 weeks, so it's just like a book kit if you had a book club. So that was sort of the idea behind it, give you a little bit longer to read the material. Here are a few of our business questions that we've gotten. The typical one has start a business, but we've gotten more grant questions since we have the grant database. They'll ask us demographics, all sorts of questions. Wealthiest homeowners, list of doctors in the area. And now I'm going to turn it over to Eva.
So another one of the things that we provide to our patrons is we have access to the funding information network put out by Candid. Essentially what the funding information network is, it's the foundation directory online that provides access to over 238,000 grant makers and 23.2 billion grants for nonprofit businesses. They are one of the most comprehensive data tools on the planet, and it's an incredible resource for the nonprofit community. We can go to the next slide. One other thing that has really, I feel like, benchmarked our success as a department is our outreach ventures and our community partners. Essentially, what we have done that has been incredibly successful for us is that we attend different meetings and events. We currently do 1 Million Cups, which is part of the Kauffman Foundation. They have different meetings all over the United States. They meet at 8:30 a.m. every Wednesday, and it's essentially you get together, you do a small presentation, you say some issues that you're having with your business, and everybody else collaborates and gives you ideas on how to solve these problems. And it's an incredible thing to be a part of, and to be able to solve some of these people's issues with the databases and the information that we have access to. Another meeting that we tend to attend is the Chamber of Commerce. We are a Keystone partner for them. So we go to their non-for-profit council meetings and their mega networking events, and it helps get the word out about Magic and their services, and not only Magic, but the library itself as a whole. We also relatively closely partner with Prince William Economic Development. We push people their way, they push people our way, and we have really great connections with them. We also like to do presentations at different organizations like the Rotary Club or other business organizations. We've also done a few things with Volunteer Prince William. We did one event with them, and we were able to reach about 40 nonprofit organizations at one time. And as Kathy mentioned earlier, we, the lovely Myra, who you can kind of see behind me, did a presentation with the Dumfries Town Council, giving them information on what we can do to help their constituents and themselves with their research needs. And not the last, but one of the other things that we do is we set up tables and informational booths at relevant expos and conventions. This past year, we set up at the Green Business Expo in Prince William County. We also set up at county events where multiple departments will be present, because not only is external outreach important, but we do so much work for the county that we strive to do outreach internally as well, if that makes any sense. The next slide, please. One thing that has been instrumental in our success is the fact that we not only go out into the community, but we become partners with the community. We don't just go and network. We invest in this community that we are a part of, and then through that, they invest back into us. Through these different community partnerships, we get these added benefits like elevated usage. Partnerships with 1 Million Cups in the Chamber have resulted in a sensational uptick in usage from businesses in the nonprofit communities. We get a built-in audience. Our Funding Information Network partnership with Candid provides much needed information to our nonprofit community on grant makers and recipients to help aid them in their search for funding. FDO also has a certain following and notoriety. I mean, when you're one of the most comprehensive data tools in the world, you kind of have to. So it attracts users who are already familiar with Candid and what they have to offer, and brings them to our more convenient location. If the only other location where that was available was in Maryland, but you live in Woodbridge, being here is much more convenient for you. So we've made it easier for a lot of local people to access this tool. And then the last benefit would be additional funding. Through our partnerships with the Potomac Health Foundation, not only did they give us the initial funding to start our partnership with Candid and get the foundation directory online, but we also received funding through them to improve our space. We've gotten tables and chairs. We got that lovely TV to show our programs and presentations. And we even got a Surface Pro Windows laptop to help us do our work. Next slide, please. And as a part of the library, it's an expectation that we do programs. And not only is it an expectation, it's something that we enjoy doing. We enjoy bringing this into our community and helping them in whatever way that we can. We're always looking for additional connections within our community, ways to support already existing programs and figure out new ideas to fill previously unmet needs. So SBDC, Small Business Development Center, and the Chamber regularly put on programs to help small businesses and the community. And we sometimes piggyback off of them to help our community and to extend their reach to our audience. Because just because you're a small business owner doesn't necessarily know that you know what the Small Business Development Center is or what the Chamber of Commerce is, but you might just regularly come into the library. And if you see that we're partnering with them on something, then we've just opened a whole new avenue to you. Right now, the brunt of our programming efforts are with grant programs and the candid programs in general, such as Introduction to Finding Grants, Introduction to Corporate Giving. Upcoming, we have, I believe it's in October, we have Stories and Numbers, Updating Your Nonprofit's Candid Profile. So we tend to put those programs on and put more effort into them because we have an SBDC chapter. We have a Chamber of Commerce. They focus on the businesses. We attempt to fill a void for the underserved community that is the nonprofits. And we also had the pleasure last year of doing a little bit more dynamic business programming with National Small Business Week. We brought in different communities. We brought in some of our partners to help us with that. And it was, I would like to say, wildly successful. Next slide, please. So tips for programming success. The things that we have come across that have been the most helpful is making sure to involve your community partners. You don't have to do this alone. We all enjoy supporting each other. We want each other to succeed because not only does that further your needs, but it furthers ours as well. It shows how useful we are. It proves ourselves. So with the National Small Business Week that we put on in May, economic development, we involved them. They provided refreshments for multiple programs. The Chamber, we paid to have a business before hours program, but since we are a partner with them, that was discounted. And 1 Million Cups, another partner of ours, provided swag to hand out on that first day, the Work Outside the Box program. Another tip would be to utilize your network. It doesn't just have to be community partners. It doesn't have to be people that you're spending money on. Just people that you know in the community that you work with on a regular basis. Your network wants to see you succeed, and they want to know how to help you do that. So the way that we did it for this specific program series was other 1 Million Cups attendees offered to present at the small business panel. We had was known as Lux Labs, now known as Happy Labs East Coast. Brian Taborja was involved on Thursday at the small business panel. We also had redesigns at the small business panel, and the Hungry Typewriter was supposed to be at the small business panel. Unfortunately, she caught COVID, but we would love to involve her next year. But she did her own advertising for us as well, and it helped a lot. And she offered to meet with people after the fact since she wasn't able to attend. Your network wants to do all that they can for you. They want to be there. They want to help. And it makes them feel good, and it helps you to rely on them. Another tip would be to rely on your community for feedback. Some things will work, some things won't. And you just have to use these experiences to pivot for future programs. So unfortunately, Work Outside the Box was not as popular as I was hoping that it would be. But that just means that we'll likely replace it with another program next year that fills a need more succinctly than that one did. The small business panel was wildly successful. We had multiple comments on it. We had people who couldn't attend saying that they wish that they could have attended. We had people who did attend saying, I would love to see this bigger and better next year. So we'll, provided that we do this program again, we'll likely expand in both time allotment words and panel size, if that's something that we end up being able to do. And SBDC and the chamber showed interest in future involvement with the series. They got a lot out of it, as almost as much as we did. So having their involvement next year would be wonderful. And the last tip is marketing. You want to make sure that you get your information out to as many people as possible. Go through your normal avenues, like your official social media posts through like the library organizations, but also through your community partners. We had an SBDC program, they advertised that. We had our business before hours in the chamber had that information on their calendars as well, and their social media. Partner calendars. So like with the chamber, you can post your own events to their community calendars there. And again, partner newsletter pushes. Certain community partners have their own newsletters that they publish and send out via email or social media or however they choose to do it. But you can sometimes, if you are a partner, be included in those newsletters. We send monthly updates to the chamber about programs that we've got on, and because we're a Keystone member, they will publish those for us. County calendars. There's a lot of, depending on what your program is and what the type of interest it is, there are calendars like Visit Prince William, or like the general county calendars that you can add your programs to, and it's not an issue, but it's a great way to just get the word out beyond what you normally do. And then community calendars, community social medias, Reddit's, other things like that. Just make sure that you're following your procedures that are outlined specifically by your organizations. No social media type is necessarily too large or too small for you to get the word out. Any type of marketing is better than no marketing.
And that is it. That is magic. And I'll stop sharing.
If anybody has any questions, please feel free. You can either put them in the chat. You can email us directly. I can put our email in the chat if that's preferred.
And we have time now to take questions if people have questions. Rosalind, did I just interrupt you?
Oh, well, no, I was kind of formulating the question. So my question is about your industry overview. How much processing do you do to that? Do you like create a whole little report with charts and graphs from your research, or do you just sort of hand them the report from Ibis World? How much do you do to that?
Right. So when we started, we did not have Ibis World. We actually just had Gale. And back then, Gale, really their industry reports or overviews were really pretty poor.
Yeah.
So we actually went out and did our own research, and it would take us weeks to do. And we would just gather snippets of information, put it in there. We got Ibis World, which allows us to do that forecasting, but now Gale Business Essential has the Plunkett reports in there. The Plunkett reports I'll just send out to the patron who wants it. The Ibis World, we have an agreement with them that we can only take snippets of information because it's a 40-50 page report, so we're not allowed to hand that out. So we'll just take a snippet of a graph or a chart, put that in there. And again, we're only touching on a few things like the barriers, potential growth. And then some of those charts that talked about competition, those are coming from A to Z database. I'm creating it from that. Or if I got the data from the census, business side, I'm just
Mhm.
putting it in Excel. Like if I'm looking to see how many coffee shops are in Prince William, how many are in our local
Mhm.
area, like Fairfax County and Arlington, around there.
Mhm. So you do a little bit of processing.
It does. Initially, I would say if you're a new person, new at it, might take you 2 weeks because you got to fit it in with everything else you're doing.
Right.
So we tell them a 2-week turnaround.
Mhm.
But now we've gotten pretty fast, so we can get it done maybe in a week, working around. If it's the
Mhm.
only thing you did that day, maybe you could get it done in a day.
Right.
It just depends what happens, the
Right.
flow.
And you have like a whole template that you put it in. So it says industry review, and here's the parts.
Right.
Here are the
Because
sections.
we have this marketing department and they're all about branding and consistency and how it
Mhm.
looks and the image that we're portraying. Yeah, so they sort of created that cover sheet template. Not the one
Mhm.
with the table of contents, but the other one they did that.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I have a question on the lots of great ideas, but the books to go, are those books for those 2 kits ordered in addition to the regular collection? Or do
Yep.
they pulled out of the stack?
No, they are ordered in addition to. So we'll have those books out in the collection, maybe 5 or 4 copies, depending what the library system decides to order. And then I decide to order which ones I want to put into the kit. So yeah, they're
Yes.
separate.
Yeah. And my other question is, so you work with the county, like the Economic Development Department. Did they come to you for some of that overview, or are you keeping things up to date at the same time they are? I just wonder, because sometimes we feel a little competition with our county.
Right. And so in the past, we really didn't work a whole lot together. We would go there, let them know what we're doing. But now we have new staff at Economic Development. They really want to work with us. They actually wanted copies of those industry reports, the 40 pages, and I said, I can't hand it out. So they actually now subscribe to IBIS World. So they have their own industry reports and they can do what they want with those. But we try not to have that competition because as I say, I'm an information provider. I provide information, and our economic development is trying to give more guidance and building connections between businesses and business and the government. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's good, because we want to avoid them saying duplication of services. So-
Right. So we started a couple of years ago to do some other types of business programming for the for-profit community. But then we realized that we have the Small Business Development Center in the area who are offering these programs. So we really don't need to do it. But I realized nobody else is doing programs for the nonprofit community, like how to write grants and proposal writing. So that's, I think, where we're going to be going more in the future. I think we still do the National Small Business Week because that was a joint effort between economic development, because they paid for all the lunching and the funding for the event. But then the Small Business Development Center did programs for us. So that was a good networking within the agencies.
Great, thank you.
Hi, this is Dorothy. I was curious how it was envisioned back in, I think you said 1991. And so that was pre-internet, and it just seemed so helpful, the timing that the library sort of laid some groundwork to offer these services for the government, and then just to stay with that role while everyone had access to the internet. You still found a way to be helpful to the government and to business now as well.
Right. One thing that really helped us is we have 2 specialized databases. One of them is through LexisNexis. It's called Accurate. And the other one is TLO, which stands for TransUnion something or another. Those 2 databases are they have sensitive information in them. They're the type that only police will have, or county attorney office. That's the one that's going to have your social, your birth date, your criminal information, etc. So we cannot use that for the public. We actually use that for the county agencies. So when that database got created, which I'm assuming was probably 15 years ago or more, I think our county attorney office had heard about it, and they suggested it come under Magic. And so that is really our saving grace, because every time someone contacts the county attorney's office and says, I need a phone number for, I'm trying to track down a family member, I have social services, I have someone in the hospital, I need a guardianship issue, they tell them to contact Magic. We do the research. We'll find the family member using our special databases, even Ancestry, trying to find, who's the mother of the person, for whatever. So we have a lot of those county agencies are seeking us. Vehicle tags. Finance department said, we get a report, someone hasn't paid the property tax on their car vehicle, so they need to find the owner. They can contact us and we can look it up for them in this database. So maybe in your town agency, your finance department might already have that database. Your county attorney's office might have that database. Public Works might have that database because they need that information. But all of our agencies are coming to us and we do those searches for them. So, yeah.
This is Stacy. It's from Eastern Washington, and I'm going to apologize up front if you covered this already. I had to step away and deal with the situation, so I'm happy to watch the recording later. But I'm interested in learning more about your small business panel event. And did you go into detail on that already, or?
Not super detailed. What would you like to know?
Well, I'm just curious how it was structured, how you decided which panelists would participate. Was there like just set questions that they all answered, or was it more Q&A with attendees?
There were quite a few attendees. It was mainly Q&A from attendees. I came prepared with a handful of questions just in case things were slow to start. We had 3 panelists, Ramaz Al-Badgadar from Redesigns, an event design business, Brian Taborja of what was then Lux Lab hair design and is now Happy Labs East Coast, and Casey, cannot recall her last name at the top of my head, but Casey of the Hungry Typewriter, which is essentially I believe it was a copywriting. I can double check that later. But I had met Casey through 1 Million Cups. We grew to have a rapport. She's just a wonderful person in general to talk to. I had kind of floated the idea around at 1 Million Cups of doing an event like that. And she expressed extreme interest in doing it. So she was one of the first people that I went to. Brian, I have a personal rapport with and have helped him out a few times just personally with business research. And Ramaz is also a personal contact who started her own small business right before COVID, unfortunately. But she's lasted, which is a testament to her savvy, I believe, which is why I thought she would be a good fit for this program.
So this was kind of like ask the experts, and the experts were owners of successful businesses.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you.
Sounds like maybe we've come to the end of our questions. Thanks everyone so much for coming today, and thank you so much to our presenters, Kathy and Eva and Myra. Great to hear so much cool stuff. I feel very inspired. I think a lot of others do as well. I just dropped an exit ticket. This will take 30 seconds to fill out in the chat, just to let us know what you thought of the topic, and if you have future topics that you're interested in hearing from this group. I'm also always looking for presenters. So if anyone has something cool they're working on and they'd like to present this fall, reach out to me. Presenting is not scary. It can be just facilitating a conversation among peers. You can bring slides like Kathy and Eva did, or feel free to just talk to us about what's going on. But so we'd love to have you do that. And otherwise, thank you so much, and hopefully see you in September. And thanks again to our presenters today.
Thank you, Megan.
Bye.